Hi, my name's Derek and I'm an advisor on Contact's free helpline for parents. This video is about completing the Child Disability Payment Claim Form, the main benefit in Scotland for disabled children. We also produce a video explaining what child disability payment is and who qualifies for it, which you can also find on our website at contact.org.uk. For the purposes of this video, I will refer to child disability payment as CDP for short. So, how do you go about claiming CDP? Well, firstly, you'll need to fill in an application form, and you can do this online at mygov.scot or by phoning Social Security Scotland on 0800 182 2222. You can also use this number to ask for a paper form or to book an appointment for face-to-face help with locally based Social Security Scotland staff helping you to complete the form. There are two parts to the Child Disability Payment application form. You start by completing part 1. This asks for general information about your child, such as their name, their nationality, and the bank details for payments to be sent to. Completing part 1 of the form registers the date of your claim, and you then have 42 days to complete part 2 of the form, which contains the more detailed information about your child's care and mobility needs. If you think you'll struggle to complete part 2 of the form within 42 days, phone Social Security Scotland and ask them to consider an extension. Part 2 of the claim pack is very long. In fact, it's got over 50 pages, but no matter how tempting it is to try and complete the form in one sitting, it's much better to take your time and complete it over a number of days or even weeks. It's really important you try and provide as much information about your child's needs as you can. The person who's going to be making a decision on your child's claim will never get a chance to meet your child, and they aren't an expert on their condition. They're simply a civil servant who works for Social Security Scotland. So remember, if you don't spell out in detail exactly what your child's extra care and mobility needs are, they might assume there aren't major problems. Now, when you fill in the form, don't just rely on the tick boxes. Try and provide a detailed explanation of your child's needs in the text boxes too. At the end of the day, the form is a self-assessment. You're being asked to explain what your child's needs are, what this care looks like, how often it happens, and how long it takes. You're the expert here. You know your child better than any doctor or teacher or support worker, and you need to make sure that you provide enough detail that someone who will never get to meet your child would have a clear idea about the type of care that they need. When you're completing the form, remember it's not enough just to prove that your child has a disability or condition. That's not really in dispute. Instead, you need to be able to show that as a result of their condition and the symptoms they experience, that they require more care or watching over than other children of the same age. So where possible, explain not only what support your child gets, but how this differs from other children. Now, if someone was to ask you what your child's care needs are, there may be some things you simply might not think about. As a parent, there are things that you're probably doing for your child that come as second nature to you. They're simply part of your child's routine, and you might do them without thinking. However, when it comes to filling in the form, you'll need to try and step back from your daily routine and really consider all the things you're doing, how long they're taking, and whether other parents are providing similar levels of care. To help you with this, it's really helpful to keep a diary for a week or so to record all the things that you're doing, how frequently you do them, and how long they take. Now, the form can be a bit harder to complete if your child's condition varies. If they have a fluctuating condition, they might need more help in some weeks or months than in others. And with fluctuating conditions, it makes sense to first explain what your child's needs are like on bad days and then move on to explaining what better days might look like. If your child still has some difficulties on better days, it's really important to spell this out clearly. Otherwise, Social Security Scotland might assume that on better days there are no problems at all, rather than these issues maybe just not being as severe as they are on bad days. Some parents say they're put off completing the form because they worry they might not word things properly. And there's a common myth that your chances of an award are higher if you use the right phrases or describe your child's needs in a particular language. But we don't think that's true. In fact, in our opinion, a decision maker is more likely to believe what's written on the form if it's in your own words and based on real anecdotes about your child's needs and behaviours. Alongside the claim form, you're expected to provide at least one piece of supporting evidence from a professional who knows your child. If you cannot provide this evidence yourself, you can ask Social Security Scotland to gather this on your behalf by calling them on 0800 182 2222. You will be asked to provide details of your child's GP alongside any other professionals that know your child best. Alternatively, you can submit supporting evidence yourself, either by posting it to Social Security Scotland or uploading it online. You can send any supportive evidence you want, but it's important to check that the evidence you send accurately describes your child's needs and doesn't underestimate the help they require. Now remember to reward yourself once you've completed the claim form. Filling it in can be really challenging, not just because of its length, but because it can be a bit of an emotionally draining experience. The form doesn't really look at your child's achievements, how resilient they are, or what they've overcome. Instead, it focuses exclusively on what's more challenging, what's more difficult, what takes longer to do. Some parents can feel a bit demoralised after putting all that information down onto the form, but ultimately, it will be worth it if the claim is successful and you qualify for child disability payment. Thanks a lot for watching.